So let's begin. We're going to be talking about the Democrats are relying on women to be fools. They are relying on women to be stupid and emotional and over-emotional and for them to win back the House, especially. Everything they're doing is about winning back the House. Every single move they make, that's all it's about. And they are playing specifically women. They are depending on them, on a sense of grievance, on a sense of victimhood, on a sense of a way in which an emotional atmosphere affects women instead of, the Democrats are relying on an emotional atmosphere to affect women instead of the facts. All right. So here's the thing. In the New York Times, a former newspaper, today they were saying there was a column that said maybe the Me Too movement is going to help Donald Trump. Many think the issue of sexual harassment embodied in the Me Too movement will work to the advantage of Democrats in upcoming elections. A mid-December NBC News Wall Street Journal survey gave the party a 3-to-1 advantage over Republicans on the matter, but it is hardly guaranteed to do so. The whole idea of this is this whole Me Too thing, this whole rape culture thing, this, it's very much, I don't have time today to talk about cultural Marxism, but it's very much a part and product of cultural Marxism. And it's been part of the feminist movement forever. The idea that if you are a woman, you are a victim class. That is basically it. That is the entire thing. And it is a political movement to get women to feel hard done by, which women basically, there is an element of that in the female personality. 1972, Joan Didion. Do you know who Joan Didion is? Joan Didion is a really fine writer. She wrote a really good novel called Play It As It Lays, and she wrote all these essays. If you ever read Slouching Toward Bethlehem, a great book of essays. So now we're talking 1972, the very beginning of the feminist movement. She talks about the fact that they've run out of proletariat to help through their socialism, so they've now turned to women. They said, she says, at the exact dispirited moment when there seemed no one at all willing to play the proletariat, right, the working man who's supposed to unite under socialism, along came the women's movement and the invention of women as a class. One could not help admiring the radical simplicity of this instant transfiguration. This is the Democrat playbook: find a victim, get them to, play them off everybody else and make them feel that they are hard done by. So she says the feminists, this is Joan Didion, she says the feminists totted up the pans, scoured the towels, picked off the bathroom floor, the loads of laundry done in a lifetime. Cooking a meal could only be dog work, and to claim any pleasure from it was evidence of craven acquiescence in one's own forced labor. Small children could only be odious mechanisms for the spilling and digesting of food, for robbing women of their freedom. It was a long way from Simone de Beauvoir's grave and awesome recognition of woman's role as the other to the notion that the first step in changing that role was a marriage contract, like the wife strips the bed, but the husband remakes them. And this was part of cultural Marxism. There was a movement when the Frankfurt School came over from Germany, escaping the Nazis, and they took over, they started the long march through our universities. They said, we have got to destroy the family because the family is a place where traditional authority and traditional means of getting along and relating to each other is there. And so they promoted homosexuality, they promoted perverse sexuality, they kind of combined Marx and Freud. We'll get into that another day. So here is the difference. I was on Dennis Prager's show yesterday, and Dennis and I were talking about the fact that conservatives are happier than leftists. I mean, it's obvious. Leftists are always complaining. They're always miserable. They're always victims. And I said to Dennis, one of the things about you and I, Dennis, because Dennis and I have very similar approaches to life, different in very important ways, but very similar in important ways. And I said, we wake up every day with the knowledge that life is tragic and sad. And that makes us happy because you realize every day that goes well is a gift. Every day of life is a gift. Even this melancholy that you sometimes feel, the sorrow you feel for the world, is a gift. What the left is selling you is that they can fix your grievances, that they can fix this fallen state of man. And what the right is selling you, and is always harder to sell, is no, this is the state of man until Jesus comes again. This is the state of man in which we are to take our joy. We are to take our joy from our femininity, from our masculinity, from our different roles, from the way that from the life that it creates for us. And yes, is there unfairness baked into it? Yep. Yeah, yes, it is. It's a fallen world. It's a sad world. But because we wake up with that knowledge, we are far, far happier. The left is depending on women to feel victimized. It is depending on you to feel victimized by the very state of being women, by the very state. One of the things that Joan Didion goes on to say is that feminism is basically against adulthood. It is against the fact that masculine sex drives are rough, that men are rougher than women. It promotes lesbianism because it's so gentle, so that their love is so gentle. It's like they're against being grown-ups. And I think that what the left is depending on is for women to be grown-ups, and that's how they plan to win the midterms. We will see if it succeeds.